We're building the donut shop. Here's your sneak peek. Just kidding, I'll give you a sneak peek. So this is very reminiscent of colors in Boy With Love. Orangey, yellow colors are very 70s color schemes, but the bedroom actually looks more like a 90s or an 80s bedroom. Iced tea! It's my favorite song. Yeah, they're definitely using some of the same props. Sorry, that shot I'm thinking. Ooh, that side's cool. It's CG. That's all CG. Wow, okay, too many things happening. There's a lot of CG in this. This is an easy song to like learn. Ooh, I love that. This is my favorite set. The lighting is so cool and the colors, that was very reminiscent of Idol. It's a very interesting color palette. There's definitely a transition through the video. Take every cool retro coming of age movie and that's basically what they're doing. So this building was actually kind of similar to the theater in Boy With Love, a specific subsection of Art Deco called Streamline Modern. Lots of diners and things were built in the Streamline Modern style. It emerged in the 1930s, really rounded edges, just very clean, almost like made for miniature, very geometric shapes. Lots of long horizontal lines influenced by aerodynamic principles. It took after all the planes that were being developed at the time. As with every video, we started with the structure. I actually did do things a little bit different this time. I'm only going to use paperboard for the base. Kind of wish I was making the ice cream truck out of this. The front was a very strange shape, sort of comes out, which I kind of achieved. You know, off to a good start. You better prepare yourself for hearing this song a lot of times. Running through the city with a little funky soul. This is a smaller miniature. I'm trying to do smaller scale ones because they take up so much room. I decided that I was gonna make all of the walls first and do all the details, cut out all the pieces where the windows were, and then connect them later. It allowed me to work with everything easier. That did create complications later, as always. Started building up relief in the areas that had details. The front counter. The outside is the smaller part, and then inside it gets a little bit larger. Notches in the middle. It just goes into the notches there. Similar to the piece on the Boy With Love theater, textured trim at the bottom. Cut a bunch of the same size pieces, 16 of these on each side, so 32 in total on the front. I decided not to use hot glue until we were connecting things later. The projects look cleaner that way. In the doorway, almost like an archway, I used a full piece of cardboard, which also did end up adding a more structure. It should be longer, but didn't want this to be really big. I don't have a lot of space building up the top layers. There's gonna need to be a little sill. I need to cut out some notches so that it can slide in and slot it in there. It's kind of like a puzzle. There is silver trim going along the top of that bottom trim. Adding some paperboard on the inside so that I can paint it easier. I finished off these little counters, another little shelf. Cut out this doorway. Build up the top, 2 pieces of cardboard to get the thickness. I added a second layer of paperboard. The one wall that I ended up not having any full cardboard on, it's kind of warped because of the paint. It's fine. I cut out 729, the address for over the door and the counter. I'm just gonna freehand them, so who knows how this is gonna go. You can like probably barely see what I'm doing, considering I can barely see what I'm doing. Cut out of cardstock, little light details. Bend it. Definitely needs more blue. So after all the walls were built, I painted everything. It's a long process to mix paint.
Shoes on, get up in the morning, cup of milk, let's rock and roll. King Kong, get the drum rolling on like a rolling stone. Sing song when I'm walking home, jump up to the top of the brown. Ding dong, call me on my phone, nice tea and I got my ping pong. This is getting heavy, can't hear the bass, boom, I'm ready. Life is sweet as honey, yeah, this beat change like money.
sides of this building that I don't really have reference for. Kept it pretty simple. There is a window on the back wall. I just decided to add a door. I also added 2 little pipes, sort of referencing the Persona theater. Then I started working on the inside a little bit, where the staff area is. Did build those 2 walls. I tried to keep the inside simple because I wanted to mainly focus on the outside, but like, I just made it complicated. I need to just calm down. The problem is that there's windows all over this building, so I felt like I needed to make the inside stuff because you were gonna see it with anything shiny. I very selectively picked things not to make. Anything that was gonna be below where the windows were, I just didn't make. Pretty much made everything else. I shouldn't have though. I told myself this was gonna be a quick project, and then here we are a month later, so. Random food containers. I cannot tell you how difficult it is to attach plastic to things and make it stay. It works when you use hot glue, but also hot glue can melt the plastic. Did end up sandwiching the plastic in between 2 pieces of paperboard usually. And I started making some of the props. There were a lot of different things that I needed to design in Photoshop and then print out. I just draw everything in sort of the proportion, and I'll measure and size each thing to that. The menus, a bunch of the pieces for the appliances, all the little posters that are in the windows, the letters that are on the windows, designed all of it in Photoshop. I love getting the little printed out parts. Cutting accurately is important when you're making a really, really tiny thing. The open sign was just for size, I guess. I'm gonna cut the inside first because then I think there's less of a chance for it to rip. I didn't cut it out that well. When you look at it from far away, you can't tell. Container things on the floor, since you could see it through the doorway, I decided to make those. Put on all the menus and then I put the frames over them. Did make the little fridge with drinks in it. I put in 1 too many shelves. Just ripped that one out. They used a bunch of the same props from the Lights music video. If you really want to know how to make any of these, go watch that video. I'm not gonna explain it again. We did the same thing, but I just made them tinier. Napkin holders, the slushy machine. There are letters that say coffee and burger and donut, which were super hard to cut out. They were very small. Get all that crinkly foil really up close. I cut this frame weirdly, so now this is not centered. I have no idea what day it is. All I know is that it's been too many. There's a little section with, like, I guess order receipts. I am sort of obsessed with making miniature signs. I cut all these out. It's a bendy straw, a very good size. I painted that silver. For the blocks that the donut sign is on, I started with a piece of normal cardboard and then I covered all the sides with paperboard. Very much like Scrabble pieces. All of the little letter pieces for donut out of paperboard. The open arrow, same thing pretty much. I made it a little bit smaller than it probably should have been. The proportions, a little bit off. A tiny solar panel. There's also a concrete base that I glued everything to. I added the wires on. I think I'm gonna paint the wires black. I've set up a system. Look at the sign. I think it turned out pretty cool. I added a top orange trim. There's 3 shelf things with little donuts out of clay. Made a ball, poked a hole through it. I also made the ketchup and mustard container things. Also the napkin holders that were there. Individually painted everyone. I made all sorts of flavors. Painted the frosting on, drew on sprinkles with some super fine Sharpies. Then I had to make the donut trays. I've been doing things like this in every project recently. Just having flashbacks. Alright, I've got the little shelves made. I have a friend here today. Cut out tissue paper, the trays that are in there, and then I put the donuts in there. Oh, no, come back. straw holders. Used some of the plastic and curled it with pliers, and then I just added the chrome details. There are several parts of the building that have the logo for the shop on it. I tried to transfer that, printed the logo onto the back of sticker paper, Mod Podged on the surface, stuck it on, and peeled it off. And that, oh. Well, it failed quite spectacularly. I just drew it on with Sharpie. That's the best I've got. For the door, I did actually put on cardstock hinges. It doesn't open that well, so I'm not gonna say that was a success, but I tried. The diagonal metal door handle, and I just made that out of wire. Just shaped it with pliers. Oh my god, I'm a mess. Help. The very exciting and horrifying part, we gotta start putting this thing together. In the window in the back, there is a blind that out of paper, folded it accordion style. I'm not folding very evenly. Fit it over the window. Looks like a noir film. Can you just see like raindrops pouring down the window? Wanted to make the tile floor. It's kind of ugly, but first I painted in the lightest color, scored all of the lines of the grid where the tile would be, sort of making the grout lines. Went in with watercolor, painted in where the grout lines are, and just kind of adding some interest. Used orange and brown, smudged it in there, wiped it very organically, so I wasn't very precise about it. Perhaps one of the most iconic parts of this building, the giant donut on top of Serendipity cookie tin, the lid. There's a really good size for it. You might look at this and be wondering, what the heck is that? Same kind of. I've just created some topography so that I can make the shape when I paper mache it. Tiny stem at the bottom that would stick into the roof. It always starts out as a mess and then we get there eventually, so with at least mediocre results. Not really the same thickness, but the one in the video wasn't even real, so I think I succeeded. It just reminds me of The Simpsons. I did make the roof. It was kind of a mess, which is why I didn't film most of it. Drew out the shape and made it into a box. The inside is hollow so that I could stick my phone in there to light the inside. Just a piece of paper, and then I flashed some light through it. I painted it the orangey color. I didn't paint it that well, especially on the top. And then of course, it was time for final assembly. So here is the Dynamite donut shop.
Shoes on, get up in the morning, cup of milk, let's rock and roll. Kink out, kick the drum, rolling on like a rolling stone. Sing song when I'm walking home, jump up to the top of the brown. Ding dong, call me on my phone, nice tea and I'll get my ping pong. This is getting heavy, can't hear the bass, boom, I'm ready. Life is sweet as honey, yeah, this beach chain like money. This go all alone, I'm into that, I'm good to go, I'm diamond, you know I glow up. Shining through the city with that little fucking soul. So light it up like dynamite. This is so watch me break that fire, set the night alight. Shining through the city with that little fucking soul. So light it up like dynamite.
I definitely went about building this one a little bit of a different way. Maybe it doesn't seem like it, but it was for me. It took way longer than I wanted it to. The next project that I do, I need to like calm down. I say that every time. How I feel after this project. There were definitely a lot of similarities, at least stylistically, in the Boy With Love music video, the Lights music video, and this music video. A lot of the architectural styling is similar. I'm not sure if they have the same production designer for those videos. Looking at it now, I don't know, I feel like this one looks a lot cleaner in some areas at least. If anybody wants to do this, first of all, good luck. Please send it to me. I say that every time and nobody ever does, but this could be the time. And you want the designs for the posters and stuff, just like let me know. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you like Dynamite.